Ready? Okay. Hi and welcome to class. Guys, I know you're all ready and I know you see the camera there, so don't let it interfere with what's going on today. But today we're going to be talking about a whole new topic. It's on Julius Caesar and how our good old friend William Shakespeare had written a play about him. So I'm just going to get started. Everybody has your do now done, and as well as your KWL charts ready to go. So I'm going to go through this, and I need you to just remember to take some notes as you go, and if you need it, I will be able to print these out and give them to you later for your notes if you need that. But I want you to think about what you know, what you're learning, and what you want to know. Okay, so moving forward, we have Julius Caesar. He was around 100 to 44 BC. We don't really know for sure, but what we do know is that Ven Vidi Vici. He came, he saw, he conquered, and you're going to find out why. How many words can you reflect on that associates with Julius Caesar? Anyone?
Caesar salad.
Oh, you got it. Anybody else? Awesome. Come on.
Togas.
Yeah, great. Here we go. So, the month of July is named after Julius Caesar. You already mentioned Caesar salad, Orange Julius, and don't forget pizza pizza. Okay. Also, Caesar contributed to something that we use every single day, and that is the Julian calendar. Guys, his son, Augustus, sound familiar there? August? Yeah? Good. All right, moving forward. We got it, and when I say forward, I mean hundreds of years later. So if we look around the room and we see on the timeline, we have 300 BC, 100 BC with the timeline over here, and then we move all the way over here to about 1590. That's about the time when Shakespeare wrote this play. In fact, he wrote it and performed it at his theater, the Globe Theater. And one of the reasons why, the English knew a lot about the Romans back then, and they believed that they were early descendants of the Romans. The Roman playwrights like Seneca and Plautus, which we will be going into, had many influences on Elizabethan drama, and that's when everybody's like, you know, Hamlet and all that other fun stuff. It stems from the Romans. So we also move forward by this idea that in the 1400s, the English were working on a lot of different tides that brought back to Queen Elizabeth as well. So, what will we be doing about this? All right, we're going to be doing some research as soon as this slideshow presentation is over. We will be doing research not just for the play, but as well as for Julius Caesar himself and on Rome, so that we have a better understanding when we do the play. And we need to do what? What do we need to make sure that we do when we get our research? We've done this in the past with a couple of other things. Based on this slide, what are the contextual clues?
Cite evidence.
Yes, thank you. We need to cite evidence. And sadly enough, Shakespeare did not, because he didn't have the resources in order to cite his stuff. Got away with it. So, as we see, this is the setting, Rome in 44 BC. It's based on a true story. And we have our fearless leader, Julius Caesar, who has just come back from the triumphs of war. In fact, it was more like a civil war because he was taking on Pompey, and we'll get into that when you research. Ooh, civil war. Okay. So it was ruled by a triumvirate. It's a collection of three men, tried, and you'll hear this word over and over and over and over again. In fact, I'm going to give you a little secret. Everything's done in threes in this play. Okay, so Pompey, great politician. In fact, he was Caesar's son-in-law. His daughter married him. Might even call him today P.B. Poppin. Caesar, the most famous general of all time, and we've established now that he's got all this stuff named after him. Also, Cassius. Today we'd probably be calling him C-Money because he was the wealthiest man in Rome. And with wealth comes power. With power comes a big of an ego trip. And then also he tries to do what? but by his time. I know that I'm talking a lot here, and normally I don't talk a lot. Normally I have you guys come up, but because this is a fake video with only 2 people in this room, that's not what's happening. Normally everybody would be doing points and all that other fun stuff. So I'll continue going through this site as if I was teaching a real full class here. And so you know, Pompey married Caesar's daughter, and then when she died, there was nothing that tied them together. So therefore, it caused tension. So at about 53 BC, we're about right over there, we haven't moved much on that timeline, this ends the first triumvirate and seats Pompey and Caesar against one another. They then take on, as you can see, this map, would be modern day. Anyone gets that? Bonjour, comment ça va?
France.
Yes, oui. All right. The 2 triumphants, Mark Antony, Quintus Cassius Longus, faithful to Caesar, veto a bill. This whole long diatribe, which I shall give you later, is pretty much says they can't do this anymore and they want to go to war. And they go to war. And while they're at war, they do it abroad. They go to Egypt. He then defeats Pompey, but while he's there, he gets a little piece on the side, and we know her name is Cleopatra. And when he returns to war, he becomes the tribune of the people, which is code for dictator to life. And you know what dictator means? Bad stuff happens. Okay. And this is where our play begins. A lot of backstory here for a pretty interesting play. So, when we open up, there's the citizens come in. It's February 15th. It's the Feast of Lupercal. Think of like a huge party in the streets. People popping bottles, doing whatever they got to do to have a good time. And they realize they're celebrating the downfall of another Roman at the hands of another Roman. So 2 guys are like not having it. They end up getting arrested. By the way, I'm totally giving you spoiler alerts to this entire thing so that when we get up here, you can just act it out. All right. So during this feast, some conspirators talk about how to plan an assassination. We know an assassination means to bump them off, so it's going to bump them off. Quick question. Would you be worried if somebody told you were going to die in a month? Because I would be. All right. The day of death is the Ides of March, which is March 15th. In fact, that is the day that he is killed. Some of the popular themes that we're going to be seeing is the misuse of power, corruption fails, man's fallibility, the inherent jealousies of selfishness of the man. I know I'm going really fast right now, but like I said, we can go back and look at these slides later. Just presenting this to you so you can hear it as well as see it, so that when we do it and do our researches, you know these points are the ones that you're going to be researching. Also, some other good themes. Loyalty, friendship, back to some bad stuff, conspiracy, anarchy, stability through political order, visibility of the government. In fact, in the government, we talk about where it is, and it's the setting. You have to think what was going on in 44 BC, near ancient Rome. We're near the river, we're in the capital, the Senate. And then we set ourselves up for the biggest tragic figure. Is he a hero, or is he a tragic figure? And you'll notice I have a modern day tragic figure right here because we have the movie coming out in a couple of weeks. And some say that Darth Vader is actually a tragic figure or a hero. There's trepidation and question there. I'll leave it up to you to juxtapose the two. There's another vocabulary word. Okay, Julius Caesar, ambitious, ruthless, skilled general. believes that he's worthy of more power, and this scares his people. His ambition then leads to his downfall. Longtime friend, his best friend, stabs him in the back. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert. His best friend stabs him in the back. And we've talked about how Shakespearean words that we use today come back. In fact, the saying backstabber comes from this play. Ooh. Even Shakespearean has a title character. However, you'll find that although this play is titled what?
Julius Caesar.
It's really about Brutus. All about Brutus, and if you could, you'd probably call it Brutus. Because Brutus is friend, honorable man, patriotism, tyrant. He's in the play longer than Caesar, because Caesar gets bumped off in the third act. His principles lead him away, and Calpurnia, who is Caesar's wife. So many of you, while you're looking at these slides, should be thinking about what characters you'd like to play in the play. Cassius, who is probably one of the best villains of all time. Here we go with C Money again. He's the moneymaker. He's particularly loquacious, another vocabulary word. So he talks a lot, and he's jealous. However, Mark Antony, not so much a talker, but ends up delivering one of the most epic best speeches of all times. And it's done at his funeral, which incites everybody. As we're reading this tragedy of Julius Caesar, we will be discussing the conspiracy, discussing how Rome fell to mob rule after Caesar's death. We will be discussing why the history seems to repeat itself over and over again, a theme that goes on to today. And we'll be discussing our own flaws and our personalities and how we can prevent tragedy in our own lives by everyday actions. Just for fun, remember we were talking about this the last time we spoke of Shakespeare? When you say these following things, you're really quoting Shakespeare. In a pickle. Knit your brow, which I do all the time, without rhyme or reason. Night owl. By Jove. Not many people say that anymore. Eating me out of house at home. One of my mom's favorites. And then last but not least, I will end on these words since they were the last words of Caesar. Et tu, Brute. So right now, put down your pens. I want you to turn and talk. And then we move on to research and development. Thank you.